Alright, Blender, game development, live stream, Punch Bomb. This is where we left off on the boss model last time, and I got a little bit of feedback from some friends that we're going to work on, and we're going to work on some more detailing, and then we'll hop into unwrapping hopefully in the next video. I'm going to be here for a couple hours until I have a meeting around 10. First things first, his legs, a little bit skinny for a robot. We're going to widen those up a little bit. So we'll bring this stuff out. Like so. Oh man, I'm trying to figure out where to put them. You never want to move things once you have them where you like them. Okay, I think that's alright. Then we'll grab this. And we'll grab this, and we'll drag these out a little bit until that matches up with the leg again. That's pretty good. And then take this guy and center him on the knee. And take these guys and center them. So that'll widen up his stance a little bit. We'll also take the shoes out. Give him a wider stance, and then we're also going to bulk up his legs a little bit. We don't want him to look flimsy. Oh, I need to turn on my screencast keys so y'all can see what I'm doing. I don't know how much that helps, but hopefully it helps some. So we're just going to take the legs and do a scale Shift Z. What that does is it scales on every axis except Z, which is up and down in Blender, for those who don't know. And we're just gonna scale his legs out a little bit until we're happy with them, and then we can reshape them some. And same with this part of his leg too. Just make him a bit bulkier. I think we can even move him back in a little bit. Like under his shoulders is pretty good. I'm hitting L to select an entire mesh within edit mode. So we have this, it's a separate object, you hit L, it selects the whole thing. And just move these over. And we're looking alright. We need to have this connect somehow. That's going to be a tricky one. Because we want this to be the first rotation, that to be the second rotation, and this to be the third, so this guy really needs to be connected to him, which we can do fairly simply, I think. We'll just add a curve, or we'll just add it to the existing curve setup that we have here. We'll just copy one of these, rotate it 90 degrees, rotate it 90 degrees, and make it a nice connection. Yeah, just working on the robot some more. How's it going, Mason? That'll create some sort of connection between that joint and that one. And then we can move this so it doesn't collide so much. Which, in real life, this would make no sense at all, but for the purposes of a video game character, I think it's alright, and we can rig it. Alright, what next? Let's just model as much detail as we can in the time that I have. So we're going to go back to the hands for a second, and we will work on some detail for this empty area that I brought up last time I was on stream. So let's just add some panels. Like, I know it sounds boring, but like just extra detail will help. So I think we can split that, and then let's just delete a bunch of faces on our duplicate here. Oh, thanks, I appreciate that. The hands were tough. Yeah, let's just add a panel right there, kind of like that, and then we'll solidify it out. So we can offset that outward instead of inward, and change the thickness. And now we have like a panel sticking out that we can sort of screw with. Let's make it all broken and stuff. Oh, nice. Congratulations on the full time, though. That's awesome. And I'm looking forward to finishing this guy so I can just make a time lapse out of it. Like, I realized live streaming and having YouTube record my video is easier than using something like Camtasia. Alright, and then we can add rivets and stuff in Substance. But let's add a little bit of a lip here. So now it looks like there's a little bit more detail there. And we can experiment with taking one of these spheres and just connecting like that. I don't know how it's going to look, but that's the point of figuring things out. Yeah, maybe if we make this match up for some sort of alignment, that'll be nice. Rotate this. And then we can take one more of these and put it right here. And there we go. I think the hand... Oh, we can do some stuff with the fingers too. Not really sure what, but like maybe if we added some holes or something. I don't know. I want those... I feel like I can do a lot of that with texture detail and Substance. Ugh. But let's see what happens if we duplicate these and move them up some. Yeah, I kind of like that. Trying to think of the best way to handle this to avoid having too many extra faces. This will function as like a reinforcement for the joints. Okay, so that's solidifying, so I really want to apply the solidify and then extrude it. So I'm just gonna duplicate all the fingers here for a second, remove them from their groups, and put them on a trash layer just so we have them. Then I'm gonna take the solidify modifiers and apply them. So, oh my gosh, this always feels so risky. So we can take that, we can take this, and we can, since the hands are going to get pretty close to the players, honestly, so we need to make them look good. They should be the best looking part of the robot. Maybe not quite so high. Which, again, could probably approach this with texture detail, but getting the parallax when it's close to the player I think is going to be important. Something like that, I think looks kind of cool. If one of your edges is... Ooh, what happened here? Oh, I think that's just an artifact from HardOps not being properly done. Yeah, there we go. It's fixed. I can live with that. I think that's some pretty cool looking detail. Maybe even take the center faces and scale them out. Nah. The straight look kind of looks... I think that'll work. And we'll do the exact same thing for all the other fingers. Oh boy, repetitive tasks. And we can just eye the distance that we extrude them because nobody's going to be paying attention to that. And make sure we don't miss this edge right here. I think we can lessen the bevel just a tiny bit. So I'm not going to be here for super long. I have a meeting at 10. But I figured I would hop on and just get some work done. Oh shoot, yeah, we can undo those. So we don't get extra bevel faces. And it fixes some artifacts. And these extrusions serve literally no real-life purpose other than looking cool. Anybody watching the full... I commend anybody watching a full recorded live stream instead of the time-lapse later. This is kind of probably boring. I'm honestly mostly just live streaming this so I can make a time-lapse. But I figure if anybody has any Blender questions or anything, if they hop on, I'm more than happy to answer anything. Show people how to do stuff. Give back to the community and all that jazz. It's also useful if people have tips for me. Like if they hop on the stream and they're like, hey, you're doing that wrong. Almost there. Although this might be getting to the realm of too much unnecessary detail. But we'll see what happens when we get to texturing. We can always remove stuff later. Removing stuff is easy because you can generally do that without screwing with the UV map too much. It's adding stuff that is difficult because then you have to reorganize your whole damn UV map. Cool. And then the thumbs. Hey, how's it going? Afro Ampharos. That's a great name. Yeah, I'm just working on the boss model for Punch Bomb. And I figure just live stream it because it keeps me focused, and if anybody has any questions or anything, I'm more than happy to answer. Ah, I was hitting the wrong key there. We're almost done detailing up the hands, and then we can go to more interesting stuff. Oh, I didn't apply the solidify on this. Whoops. Yeah, so we're going to duplicate this, remove it from the group, and put that on our garbage layer just so we have it. And then we have to apply the solidify. Completely forgot to do that. Which means we need to re-add these edges. Something like that. And then just finish off the detailing here. And we actually missed some edges before it was solidified, which makes this kind of a pain in the ass. I don't know why I'm saying we. I missed some edges. I'm the one at fault here. Can't blame you all. Cool. Yeah, I would talk through this, but it's literally just doing the same thing over and over again. I'm almost done. If we miss any edges, nobody will ever notice. It'll just make UVing a little bit weirder when things are inconsistent. Alright, so back to our robot. That's what his hands are looking like. A little bit more detailed than everything else on him, so I think we should detail him up some more. Of course, the hands, again, do need to be the most detailed part. I think we can give him a bulkier body. And to do that, we're going to snap the cursor in the center of him there. And neat trick, which anybody who uses Blender probably already knows. But you can scale based on the 3D cursor location. Let's just select all of this. Scale that out a little bit. Maybe not the top edges. That'll give him some nicer proportions, I think. Now we gotta figure out where we can add more detail. Which, let's look at some more reference. Which we are definitely not going this detailed, but it's a good place to start. Nobody's ever going to see the neck. We don't have to worry about that too much other than the front of it. So maybe just like an extrusion right here. So we can add a loop, then do some cuts. Except we want those cuts to be straight. Like so. And we can extrude this down. Make a face out of these 5 vertices. I don't know why that's not working. So we will just do this instead. And I realize that it doesn't match up perfectly with the roundness of the neck, and we'll fix that here in a second. So we will hide everything except this, go to the top view, and move this out. So now it does match, hooray! And then we'll bevel all these edges, which we'll apply later when we get to UVing. And then we have to connect these so we don't have ingons that are creating weird artifacts. So we'll just triangulate it since nobody's ever going to know. Although triangulating it that way might be better in terms of spread for the bevel. Just small details like that going all over the place I think will help a lot. Let's add a little more paneling to his chest too. Which we can add a plane here. Let's just start adding some asymmetric details to really liven it up. Like, let's say he has a panel right here. We want these edges to be within here so we can project them, and then we can divide this a couple times. If we come down here to snap to face and turn that on, if we hold control, it'll snap it straight to it. Then we can extrude this to make the panel go off of him a little bit. Hey, what's up, Jaden? I'm just working on my boss model for my game. This is probably going to be the last modeling video, then I'm going to move on to unwrapping and texturing and substance and stuff. All the ones that are still overlapping that we can project, we can select those and reproject them to make sure they're staying lined up nicely. And then we can take the whole thing, C-sharpen it to get the bevel, make all of these edges beveled, which doesn't do anything until we solidify it and move the solidify modifier. But then we can thicken that up a little bit, offset it. We just want like a little panel. And then we can lessen the bevel a lot. Oh, is that cake? Man, cake sounds good. I had some rum cake with dinner that I bought on a cruise I was on recently. And I'm getting messages on my phone, but they can wait their turn. I think we can make this a little bit smaller. Maybe that's too small. Just some random paneling. Maybe we can split this part of the chest up some, which we're going to go ahead and apply the mirror, and as per usual we're going to duplicate that, put it on the trash layer just so we have it just in case. Apply the mirror. And we'll edge split that. Hide everything except that. Add some divisions so we can dirty it up a little bit. Alright, later Jaden, have a good one. And we can sort of separate this off a little bit. And then we can make the sky match up better. No, we can't because it's mirrored. But close enough. Although I kind of like how that looks, and I kind of do not like how that looks. So we're going to do the same thing on this side, but just make it asymmetrical. Because you gotta dirty things up sometimes. That's the difference between something that looks believable and something that doesn't. If it's really symmetric, it totally looks fake. Granted, it's a giant CG robot, so it's gonna look fake no matter what. But having it asymmetric will definitely help sell it as a believable thing. And then we can dirty these up a little bit. And we missed some bevels here. Dirty this up a little bit. And the back doesn't matter, nobody's ever going to see that. And I think just to sell the effect, we can really exaggerate how much this is separated. And we can add some rods coming off of here, or out of his arm, so it looks like a connection broke or something. And give that only like 16 vertices. Could probably even go to 8, because it's going to be small. Put that there. It's alright that it's intersecting because it's going to be coming out. And I want it to be wide, so you got to make trade-offs at some point. The reason I'm sliding the edge all the way to the end is so the width stays consistent, because if you offset it and put the edge in the middle, then it's not going to be the same width and you're going to get a weird tube that changes width on you. Let's add 2 of these. And then we'll change up the profile of it some. Just so it doesn't look mirrored. And I think these are a little bit long, to be completely honest, so we'll delete this edge loop and slide it in some. And that vertice sticking out is alright, we'll get rid of it here in a second. We don't need that on the other side because it'll be a nice asymmetric detail. And I think we can asymmetrize his face a little bit too. So we'll duplicate it just so we have it, move it to the trash layer, and then apply the mirror. We'll rotate this some, maybe move it down so it's not quite so perfect. Add some edges here to mess with. And then we'll take the nose. And wow, that's its own thing right now. We'll apply the mirror there too. We'll rotate it some to give him some character. And then we can move pieces of it around up here. I think we can rotate these in just a little bit to make him look a little bit angrier. Nah, I kind of like the soulless look. I think that's pretty cool. Wires are good. Oh, what else do we need to add here? That's the tough part, figuring out what to add. Like, I know I need to add stuff to make him not feel so smooth, but a lot of that will come in texture detail with riveting and stuff. So, you could probably add more interior detail, but I don't know how horribly necessary that is. Like maybe some support beams for this. Just to give him some more interior substance. Again, I don't know how horribly necessary that is. The whole scene's going to be dark. Feet don't need a whole lot more work just because. But I think we can do some asymmetry work with the arms. Maybe put some panels, maybe split this one up, but not on the other side. That looks kind of cool. Then we can add like a nice gap here. Leave the other side alone. Overall, I feel like he's close to being ready to unwrap in texture, which I really want to do in the next video. I'm just going to keep tweaking here and there tonight. Then probably Friday or Saturday is when I'm going to do the UVs and really take this guy in for texturing and stuff. So we've got some rods here, but I think these can be a little bit bulkier, which means I think we can thicken these panels up a little bit. We want these to have some actual visual substance. Still not horribly visible, but better than they were. I don't think anybody is going to be paying too much attention to the stuff inside. So maybe we'll just add some tubes in there with a little bit of detail. Just in case people look inside. We can give those about 16 vertices, which for vertex counts and stuff, I'm honestly just guessing. If it performs poorly, we will come in and do some remeshing on it. So we'll just add this here and between here, and then we'll just add some extrusions and stuff just to give us some extra visual detail. Just in case people see through the cracks. Now there's something there. And something that we can connect our connections to, which is nice. So the last thing you want is someone seeing something they're not supposed to in your game. Again, if anybody has any questions or anything, feel free to ask. I'm always happy to show how to do stuff in Blender. Because I can tell you exactly every keystroke I'm doing, but that would get really boring really fast. And take him and rotate him a bit so he lines up a little bit better with that tube. That tube. Okay, so now if anybody sees inside of his arm, there's at least something there. And then we can take that and mirror it across. Uh-oh. There we go. And I think his chest needs some more interior detail. And these pieces definitely need to connect somehow, so let's go ahead and add some pipes for that. So we'll take you and we'll hide everything else. And we'll bring this up. And then we'll take the other point and we'll attach it somewhere on the chest. Oh, except we wanted to grab these, not those. Although, oh, that's a much better solution. Although it wouldn't look as cool on the interior, I think a better solution is going to be to add metal bars that go up. So we'll try to match that up as best as we can, and then we'll match it up to here. We'll thread it through this piece. And let's go ahead and give it some depth so we know what we're working with. So that's already over too far. And that's already over too far. And then we can take this guy and thread him up through here. And we can probably even scale it down a little bit. And we can move this a little bit further down just so it has more room to breathe. And maybe even further out so it doesn't have to curve so far. Nope, that looks terrible. So we need a better way to connect this. And I think this one can look alright potentially. I think this one does not, so we'll just bring it up in here. And then we can connect closer so these are straighter like metal bars actually would be. Maybe even just have it connect along the corner. Again, I'm just experimenting with shit until something looks cool. Like that, as far as I know, is the best way to make a robot without concept art. And then we can take it and thicken it up some more again since we have the room. Give it some substance. And then we can thread it all the way along the back here. Oh, thanks, I appreciate that. It's getting there. It's not quite where I want it yet. Yeah, we'll just thread this along the back. Like so. Which is, I think, completely unnecessary. So we'll just subdivide this, delete the vertice, and have it end here. I don't think anybody's going to crucify me for not having these all super connected. If they do, they're kind of assholes. I don't really know how I feel about this, but we'll keep it for now and mirror it across. I feel like just to avoid the intersection, we can have this come in a little bit more and even provide a little bit more detail. Maybe have some wires coming off of it and going to the center of him or up to there, just to add more substance. So this can be the wire connection area. We can extrude that out more. And nobody's going to see that side of it, so I'm not going to bother too much with detail there. Nobody's probably ever even going to see this, but you never know. They'll see the wires and stuff that connect. And wires are cool. So we'll have a couple connections just hanging. And for that, we don't need anything else. We just need to connect these in. And we'll add one more vertex to the curve just to get the curve that we want and the curve that we deserve. Can move that in, move that up. We're gonna hide the better art just because I don't want to be judged. So then we'll take these and divide them so we can have it hanging better. And then we can fill it out. Do not need even close to that many segments. And then wires only look cool if there are multiple of them crossing and overhanging and stuff. So we're going to add some of that too. So we'll duplicate it, move it here, and then we'll have these connected at different areas. So move one down here, and then, which, it's this one. Then we'll move this one up here. That'll add some detail there. Now we can take these and make them interact with the rest of the body and move them up here like they're dangling. Which they won't actually dangle in the game, which is a shame, but that's expensive on the CPU. Alright, so now we need you, we need you, we need you. Guess we can bend that way. Okay. I don't think his body needs to bend at the halfway section like our bodies can, because he's a rigid robot. He'll still be able to punch, and it will still look cool. So hide this stuff, and we're going to connect some wires from the power core. So we duplicated our wires. I don't know why. It's probably easier just to restart, but I already started with this method, so we're just going to go with it. So then we take you, and we'll connect you to the motor. And these wires will just give the interior a little bit more substance, I think. Stuff that nobody will ever even notice. But I know it's there. And the cool thing about wires is they don't have to take up much space on the UV sheet. I can just make them a solid plastic material. So they only have to be a couple pixels big, since they're all going to be a consistent color. And these wires will be so much cooler if they cross. I don't know why it is, but having mesh crossing and interacting and going over each other just looks way cooler. And then you need to actually intersect here. Things people will never notice for 500 Trebek. And I think these might look cooler if they went up to the head instead. Not the head, but like the neck. Be more more visible. So I'll move these around a little bit. And then we can move the center points up some. I can't see shit. Yeah, we'll pretend those are powering that. And we'll make them come straight down so we can add some cylinder connections here. Which we're also going to want to inset this and create like a channel for the wires. Again, something nobody will ever notice in like a bajillion years. But nice detail to have. And they will notice if we bring this down some. Because now it looks cooler. And we do not need this to bevel. That's just extra faces that are taking up memory. And then let's have some more wires going a little bit further back. So we'll just hide everything except the pieces we need. So everything else is in the way. We will duplicate you, put you about here. And then we can move you around here. And we can subdivide this one more, so it crosses underneath all of those and looks way cooler. And wire placement is not about functionality, it's about looking cool. And I think that looks alright. This guy needs to be in the channel though. Then we will add one more, so we're symmetrical in terms of count. And we'll put him over here. And we'll move him up. And we'll subdivide him one more so we can bring him down like that. I think we can make this one more visible. Make this one look like it's hanging on that one, kind of. Alright, now I got some wires. Cool. I still feel like this center part is super empty, though. I don't think anybody's going to notice it enough for it to matter. I do think we can shape these more like thighs. And then move the whole things inward a little bit, so it's more like human thighs. Like they're still wide stance, but the thighs come in closer. Yeah, I'm digging the wires there. That'll work well. And we can add a neat texture going around here so this isn't so smooth when we get to substance. And I think to hide that intersection there, we're just going to bring this up. Just make a lip. So it looks like it's maybe a ball socket joint or something. Haven't decided how I'm going to rig this yet. I feel like these all need to be separate pieces. And these wires, I think, can be a little bit thicker. Which means the channel needs to be bigger. And we missed a bevel here. I think we can bring this guy out up here a little bit more, just so it's more visible. So that area was feeling a little bit empty. We're going to try something new here in terms of technique. I'm going to do an edge split. Then just bring this down. I think that makes my life a little bit easier in terms of the method for doing intrusions like this. And bring that up until it matches. Bring that down until it matches. And then just fill in the face. Which we don't even need this edge anymore. we do need to bevel. Which, beveling looks really nice, and I know you can do it through normal maps. I don't know how, but it makes unwrapping a lot harder. And we're actually going to add some extra ones of these anyway. I was just curious if that method would work. And it did, which is cool. Something like that. I think just the two will be good enough. But it adds a little bit of detail there. And this is stuff that we can add in texturing, but if we can model it in, it'll look better. Then let's add like maybe some little LED lights in there. And for that, we will just add a cylinder. This could probably get away with 12. Or we don't even need that, we can just add a sphere. And we can definitely get away with 12 and 6. Because it's going to be a small little LED light. Just extra details that will make him look like I put a lot of effort into it. I don't know why that's local. There we go. And I think the LED doesn't need to be so tall because that's just dorky looking. So we're going to scale based on 3D cursor in like that. And then QC, which turns on hard ops for it. And then we can select all these edges that we don't want beveled and just do that. Okay, and we can rotate it around some so it's more visible. So maybe somewhere like here. If we move based on normals, then we'll get a better approximation. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. I'm not perfect, robot's not perfect, anybody that builds a robot's not perfect. So maybe Skynet, I don't know. Oh. That's a nice piece of thing. And most of these panels are just armor, so they're not going to have a lot of purpose in having a lot of exterior detail on them. But we can copy those kind of details. Like the bigger rivets. Maybe just put a couple around them, just for consistency's sake. Object, transform, origin to geometry. We don't want this in the group, and then we'll move it to layer 2, where everything else is. Now it's huge, so we will scale you down rotate you. And then we're just gonna cheat here and say snap cursor to selected and then snap selection to cursor rather than trying to fiddle around and figure out where it belongs. Then we'll rotate it a bit. Bring it out, and then we can bring it up here to the corner where it belongs. I think those will look cool on the corners. Can probably even scale them down some. Yeah, let's just pretend that these are connecting the pneumatics or hydraulics or whatever the hell they are. Then we can apply the rotation, apply the location, and mirror it across. Then we are going to want to apply that mirror and move this one to match our asymmetric side. Like so. And then let's add one of these to each of these guys. Which, like, the rotation doesn't have to be perfect. Let's just assume the person who made the robot was drunk and that's why it's attacking us in the first place. Perfect. So in the rest of this stream, which I'm going until a little bit before 10 Eastern, is just going to be adding small details like this. If you're interested in unwrapping and stuff, tune in next time. I have some really cool unwrapping tricks. It makes unwrapping super fast and basically like wizardry. And, well, relatively fast. Now, one more. Cool. So, I think, let's pretend that these are like caps for wires or something, and we can have like one of them hanging down maybe? I don't know. Maybe they're just big screws. Let's just go with that. Uh-oh. High CPU usage detected. Stream might be impacted. I'm sorry. Screw off, XSplit. Should probably be using OBS. but I don't have that installed. Let's just see what this looks like with basic shadows and stuff. Make sure everything's looking somewhat cool. Cool, this looks like a robot I want to fight. I can dig it. Legs aren't going to be horribly visible. I'm not going to focus too much on adding detail to those. If I add a line there, it'll look like a mouth, so I don't want that. We could add a wire coming up here and connecting. That'll be cool. Alright, these are just final stupid tweaks to make him look cooler. So we will add this wire coming out right here and sticking out a little bit just so people can see it and appreciate the work that we put into this game. They just want to play a fun game. Nobody even cares about nobody. Honestly, if you're making a game, nobody really even cares about the art except you, unless you're like a AAA developer. Then people are like, oh, it better be perfect. Let's just say this connects... let's connect it to his head power core. Don't need to have it come out even close to that much, just sticking out. I think it'll look more aesthetically appealing coming out if we put it up here though. And it's hard to tell where it's going with just the line, so we're going to give it some depth. And what have I said numerous times about wires? They only look cool if they're crossing shit. So we will duplicate this one and have it come out slightly differently. Oh, I know. You can have... Aw, man. That's dumb. You. I want you. We can have this one connect up here. And definitely not that much. There we go. Then we can do the same thing on the other side, but make them different. And by different, I mean just mirror them across like that. Maybe bring this one up more. Maybe have both of them come up top. Now we're talking. We also need to connect the eyes somehow. So we're going to ditch the outside of his head and just work on the eyes here. And we will connect those around to this side, just to make them take up as much space as possible. We'll move this guy out, extrude him once, just so we do have a straight connection into the eye. What's up again, Jaden? I'm almost done with the stream tonight, but we'll be back on Friday or Saturday at the latest. But feel free to stick around as long as you want. I'll probably be here for another 15 to 20 minutes. Then we can make this guy thick. And actually match up. That'll be a plus. Like Day of Defeat. I've never played Day of Defeat. Tell me about it. And let's see how that looks. Yeah, that gives his eyes just something to connect to. Although we're going to have to move this up some. Or in some. Then let's just add a connection area for this wire. And let's mirror it. But make it a little bit different. Oh, that sounds cool. There's some really popular VR war simulation games like Onward or Pavlov that are really cool. Which VR shooters are super cool just because you, rather than pressing a button to reload or something, you have to actually physically manually reload your gun with your hands. Adds a whole new element to it. It's pretty cool. These wires might be too pronounced. I personally like sci-fi shooters like Halo, and lately we've been playing a lot of Fortnite. And just so they're a little bit more pronounced, we don't want to make these too pronounced or it's just goofy, but we do want them to be visible. Which means I think we can actually thicken them up a little bit. But I'm gonna go check out Day of Defeat right now. On Steam, has 9 out of 10 rating. Oh, it's only $5. That's not bad at all. And overall, I think we're just about ready to texture. I can't think of much else to do here. Maybe make his power core look a little bit cooler. Fortnite, we usually definitely play on Friday. But it depends on when we're playing. It's a little bit different every time. Just like it's hard for me to get a set schedule for things. just because of the nature of my work life. But Friday, maybe Saturday night if I'm not at a friend's birthday party. Maybe Sunday. Next couple weeks are very busy for me, but I'm going to try to fit it in. And I'll even stream next time, just going solo though. I tend to do better when I go solo because I'm not trying to do stupid shit with my friends. Yeah, just add some nice connections for the power core. And that face is unnecessary, and that face is unnecessary, which will also make our unwrapping job easier later. And then we will Alt-D, rotate that 45 degrees, rotate it 45 more because I really meant 90. Alt-D, rotate 90, Alt-D, rotate 90. So now that's nice and set into the chest, and we can take these and move them in so they actually go in. So we don't really want to add extra unnecessary stuff here, so we will make this guy his own object. And same with this one. Man, I wish I could just play Fortnite 24/7 though. I love that game. And so the reason I'm doing this right now is because the more stuff that you can't see, that's like hidden within mesh, like colliding like this, the more room it's going to take up on your UV map unnecessarily. So you really want to optimize your intersections. Yes, I have accidentally deleted a whole project. So I was using SourceTree to do source control for this project, actually, for Punchbomb, which is my VR game. And I clicked the wrong button, and this was before I released it into early access. I clicked the wrong button, and SourceTree deleted my entire project. I fortunately had a backed up version from the previous version of Unreal that was like 2 weeks old, so I spent an entire night without sleep just redoing everything, which went a lot faster the second time because I actually knew how to do it this time. But that was a very big panic attack. Because it scrubbed it. I tried using like hardware backup software and everything to get files that had been deleted, and it was just straight up gone. Probably the most stressed out I've ever been in my entire life. And we'll add some panels here. And we'll just offset them in the opposite direction and make them less thick. And then now these edges are completely unnecessary. My favorite band. And that's a tough question. I don't really have a favorite band. I don't even really know bands. I just know songs. What's your favorite band? Or do you have any music I should listen to? Because my playlist is a giant jumbled mess of pretty much everything. I used to listen to Green Day a lot back in high school. Like Boulevard of Broken Dreams and stuff. That was really popular. And I think these will be the final details before I call it quits for the night. Because I gotta go to a meeting. And I'll probably detail this up a little bit offline before the next stream, like just tweaking things here and there, nothing major, and then next time hopefully we'll go into UV unwrapping. But this is where we are leaving off this stream. I went to the Savannah College of Art and Design for visual effects, but I had already learned Blender before I went there. The industry standard is Maya, so they forced us to use that at school. But since graduating, I work in marketing and do animated promotional videos in Blender. And in my free time, I work with a studio called Theory Studios and do visual effects. Like most recently, we worked on Silicon Valley and Men in the High Castle, which is pretty fun. Other than that, I just decided I wanted to learn how to make games, so I picked up Unreal Engine, got a VR headset, and made a game. But for CG stuff, started in high school, got a lot better through college, and have just been improving since then, which is, holy shit, like, how many years has it been? I guess about 5 or 6 years since I graduated. Sounds about right. Anyway, I think this is about ready to unwrap. It's just for, we can get a lot more extra detail in textures, and I might add a few more panels and stuff, but I think we're about ready to unwrap it and texture it, so that's pretty cool. Hope you all have a fantastic night. Don't really know what else to say. That's it. I'm out.